Tonight, I'll tell you a dramatic and painful love story, starring Kayla Song, a young, strong woman, yet vulnerable in love. The story begins on a torrential rainy night, when she unexpectedly finds the man she deeply loves passionately entangled with another woman. Heartbroken and shocked, she froze, the key in her hand falling to the ground, unable to believe what she was witnessing. As he hastily pushed the other woman away and dressed, his clumsiness only deepened her despair. The other woman's voice, Violet Dunn, echoed in her ears, like an insult, making Kayla Song feel nauseous, as if the whole world had turned against her. Despite the turmoil within, she turned and walked away, coldly saying, "I've come to the wrong place, I apologize for the disturbance." She thought she could escape this nightmare, but no, he chased after her, desperately explaining that there was nothing between him and Violet Dunn, that he only loved her. She just smiled coldly, replying, "From now on, who you're with has nothing to do with me." Those words resonated like an irrevocable farewell, but he still wouldn't let go, rushing after her, grabbing her hand. Kayla Song no longer had the strength to explain or continue suffering. She just wanted to get out of there, to escape the scene of betrayal. But then, he saw the blood on the floor, the blood she had left behind while fleeing her kidnappers. He was shocked to realize she was injured and couldn't just leave. But in her mind, what had happened to her still left her feeling lost and hopeless. She had no one by her side, nowhere to go, only wandering in the cold rain. Fleeing from danger, she unexpectedly encountered a large car, and as it stopped, a man stepped out, holding an umbrella, walking towards her. It was Tristan Young, her fifth uncle, a cold, mysterious man, once considered an outsider by her family. Although he was the only one who could protect her from the enemies surrounding her, her heart couldn't easily trust. She asked Tristan Young when he would leave, but he only replied, "Today." She hesitated, not daring to ask more. Tristan Young, the man she had never truly understood, was now the only one standing by her side in this dangerous time. She felt suffocated and pressured by him, as if everything was no longer herself. He looked at her, then calmly said, "You should prepare yourself mentally. Soon, the Young family will arrive." She was surprised, not understanding what he was saying. Prepare for what? Prepare to feign innocence and ignorance. The hospital room door burst open, and Julia Jiang, the third concubine of the Young family, entered in her elegant attire, her eyes brimming with tears. Seeing Kayla Song, she immediately sobbed, "Kayla Song, what happened to you? Where are you hurt?" Kayla Song forced a smile, trying to appear calm, "Grandmother, I'm fine." But just one sentence after that completely changed the atmosphere. She calmly said, "Grandmother, fifth uncle and I have registered our marriage. He wants me to move out and live with him." Her words were like a bomb exploding in the hospital room. Julia Jiang was so angry that she pointed at Tristan Young, scolding him mercilessly, "Tristan Young, a madman like you shouldn't even dream of taking Kayla Song away." Tristan Young stared coldly at her, silent, making Julia Jiang furious enough to explode. Her nails, sharp as a hawk's talons, twitched, but every venomous word died in her throat, choked by his undeniable iciness. Defeated, Julia Jiang could only fume, not daring to touch him. Tristan Young's chaotic family arrived, unanimously condemning him, calling him crazy, dangerous, unfit to care for Kayla Song. Unfazed, he dismissed them with glacial finality, "Kayla Song needs rest. Leave on your own, or shall I assist you?" No one dared challenge him, they retreated in sullen silence. Kayla Song, still uneasy, felt a strange gratitude for Tristan Young's unwavering defense. When she murmured her thanks, he replied, "Just thank you. You'll be saying that a lot more to me, I suspect." His blunt honesty evoked an unexpected respect in her. Later, Kayla Song asked Tristan Young to help her move Brian Hudson's belongings. To her surprise, he agreed without hesitation or question. A sense of security settled within her, despite the lingering chill of his demeanor. Half a month later, Kayla Song was discharged, and Tristan Young brought her to Prime Prestige Estate, a luxurious villa in an upscale neighborhood, prepared just for her. He arranged her belongings, ensuring nothing was missing. Despite his coldness, his meticulous care warmed her unexpectedly. She was given the guest room, while he occupied the master suite, everything arranged as if he'd lived there for years. Dusk settled, and the girl waited, stomach gnawing with hunger, but he didn't return. The old housekeeper was also gone. She'd never imagined facing such a situation. Suddenly, the door opened, he entered, still on his phone, nonchalant. She rushed to greet him, only to be met with, "Have you eaten?" When she said no, he bombarded her with questions that made her blush, from cooking to laundry. She confessed her only skill was mahjong, at which she'd won impressive sums. He teased her about her gambling, and a light, humorous air filled the room. But the levity was short-lived. An unwelcome guest appeared, mocking her, insinuating a shady connection with someone named Louis Young. Not one to be bullied, she retorted sharply, even suggesting he take a sleeping pill to cure his snarky attitude. The tension escalated as the man, Lance Taylor, became increasingly frustrated during a mahjong game. Onlookers marveled at her skill, but Lance Taylor couldn't stand losing repeatedly. She remained unruffled, her victories a testament to her sharp mind. The scene abruptly shifted as a group of strangers, armed with clubs, burst into the room, searching for something. Clearly not Tristan Young's friends, their purpose remained a mystery. Were they connected to Leo Long's robbery she'd heard about during her kidnapping? In a chaotic night, Tristan Young emerged like a hero amidst the battle, making a single move that instantly sent a man sprawling, as if he possessed superpowers. Each of his movements exuded the aura of a battle god with extraordinary inner strength, leaving many in awe. Kayla Song, like a spectator in an action movie, was both amazed and alarmed as she witnessed Tristan Young sweep through the bad guys like a storm. But amidst the fight, a rather suggestive incident occurred. Kayla Song's high heel, her chosen weapon to save Tristan Young, struck him squarely in the forehead. Never had a surprise attack been so disastrous. Tristan Young, the cold man, instantly flared up, but instead of scolding her, he simply warned, "Get out of the way." As if that wasn't enough, Lance Taylor, the incessant teaser, appeared like a ticking time bomb, chattering about Tristan Young's favor, further escalating the tension. Kayla Song, unable to hold back, retorted angrily, but Lance Taylor shamelessly continued to ship them. Just when the tense situation seemed to be over, Tristan Young pulled Kayla Song into his arms, shielding her from a potentially fatal blow without a word of complaint. This Tristan Young, so strong, one moment cold and aloof, the next her protector. Such a stark contrast moved Kayla Song deeply. But the love didn't end there. Suddenly, Kayla Song was kidnapped while Tristan Young was severely injured. Of course, she couldn't enjoy a moment's peace, as Grandma Julia Jiang, with her ready-made script, appeared and began wailing as if the world was ending. This dramatic display was surpassed only by her ostracizing Tristan Young and urging Kayla Song to return home, away from the wolf in sheep's clothing. Despite this, Kayla Song maintained her innocent facade, feigning ignorance and defending her fifth uncle. But the story didn't end there. When Henry Young appeared, he pulled Kayla Song aside with a cryptic promise, "I'm taking Kayla Song away for a moment. There's something I want to discuss privately." Henry Young, seething with anger, dragged Kayla Song into the hospital corridor, throwing challenging words at her, urging her to trust him for protection. But Kayla Song, intelligent and sharp, wasn't easily fooled. She responded with cool indifference and a piercingly astute remark, "Is the king of hell more formidable than a little devil?" A truly brilliant retort. But Henry Young wasn't one to give up easily. He continued to persuade her to return, even promising to marry her, but the damage to their relationship was undeniable. Kayla Song, her eyes filled with hurt, didn't trust his promises. She had been betrayed before and wouldn't easily open her heart again. Back in the hospital room, the situation became even more awkward when Kayla Song accidentally grabbed Tristan Young's underwear, a moment sure to make anyone blush. She'd experienced countless embarrassing situations, but Tristan Young remained remarkably calm, seemingly oblivious to her discomfort. And so, Kayla Song awkwardly took the underwear to wash, eventually hanging it to dry on the balcony. The narrative then shifts to a pivotal event, the Young family's board meeting, thick with anticipation and tension surrounding the patriarch's will. Contrasting the family drama, a touch of levity emerged as Julia Jiang, sporting a fresh manicure, chuckled softly and prompted Lawyer Lawrence to reveal the will's contents. Despite everyone's presence, they awaited Kayla Song, for the meeting could only officially commence with her arrival. Julia Jiang maintained a strained smile, her heart turning to ice upon hearing of Kayla Song's imminent arrival. She couldn't fathom why the old man insisted on the girl's presence before unveiling his will. The tension amplified when Kayla Song entered the meeting room with Tristan Young. Julia Jiang, seated, convinced Tristan Young was manipulating Kayla Song for his own shady purposes, further scornful of the girl for seemingly abandoning her family to follow him. However, the drama was far from over. When Lawyer Lawrence disclosed the patriarch's will, the Young family was stunned by the division of assets, with Kayla Song, deemed unworthy by them, receiving an equal share to the eldest son, Philip Young. Victoria Thompson, Howard Young's wife, gritted her teeth in fury, barely containing her rage. The biggest bombshell, however, dropped with the fourth testament. Tristan Young was tasked with relocating his mother, Lily Grace's, remains closer to the patriarch's. This unexpected request was met with Tristan Young's immediate, chilling refusal, a single sentence suffocating the room. He couldn't protect my mother in life, and now he wants to cling to her in death, Tristan Young stated icily, the tension in the room reaching a fever pitch. Everyone was shocked, not only by his refusal but also by the implication of a deeply buried secret within the Young family. Was Tristan Young somehow connected to his mother's death? And why did the mere mention of Lily Grace evoke such fear? What dark truth lay hidden beneath the surface? Kayla Song glanced at the Young family members seated opposite her, then lowered her gaze, her expression serene, as if everything was proceeding according to plan. Unhurried, she calmly waited for Lawyer Lawrence to prepare the agreement. Suddenly, Tristan Young, his demeanor as cold as ice, spoke, his voice laced with a chilling edge. "Does your offer still stand?" Tristan Young asked, his sharp gaze piercing the air. "It does," Kayla Song replied softly, without hesitation, understanding his nature all too well. She wasn't surprised by his request, but the conversation was clearly escalating. Tristan Young didn't respond immediately, simply stating, "We'll discuss the details later. For now, obey me." His commanding tone silenced the room, no one dared to object. Abruptly, Tristan Young pointed at Lawyer Lawrence and coldly ordered, "Transfer Kayla Song's shares to me." The room erupted in shock. Howard Young, unable to contain his fury, slammed his hand on the table, roaring, "Tristan Young! You're a heartless wolf. That's father's inheritance for Kayla Song. What right do you have to seize it?" Tristan Young, completely unembarrassed, simply smirked and replied with a simple yet sharp, "Because we're married." Problem? The words hit like a bombshell, stunning the room into silence before erupting into chaos. Julia Jiang, who had been sitting quietly, abruptly stood, pointing a finger at Kayla Song and shouting, "Kayla Song! When did you become so foolish? Return to the Young household at once. Or don't blame me for disowning you." Kayla Song maintained her composure, calmly lowering her head and replying, "But grandfather wanted me to obey fifth uncle." Just then, a teacup flew towards her, but before it could connect, Tristan Young swiftly pulled her into his arms, shielding her from the shattering porcelain. In that brief moment, Kayla Song felt Tristan Young's masculine breath against her, a strangely comforting sensation. The room fell silent. Kayla Song, unfazed, even offered a slight smile before turning to Julia Jiang and saying, "Do you think you have the right to say, 'not allowed'?" But the drama didn't end there. Tristan Young, his face impassive, continued as if nothing had happened, then gestured for his assistant to project an image. The image, a marriage certificate belonging to young Kai and the deceased Lily Grace, heightened the tension. Everyone gasped, and Julia Jiang looked as if she'd been knocked off her feet. The truth was out, she and young Kai had never legally married. Julia Jiang, once seemingly invincible within the Young family, now stammered, even resorting to threats against Tristan Young. He, however, remained arrogant and unmoved, even going so far as to challenge her, "If you have a marriage certificate with my father, show it. If not, get out." The words hung in the air, freezing the room. Julia Jiang could only remain silent, the truth laid bare, leaving her with no defense. Just when everyone thought things would calm down, another confrontation unfolded. Nina Tate, Kayla Song's close friend, met her at a cafe and berated her for so easily giving up her shares to Tristan Young. Though Nina Tate couldn't understand Kayla Song, she worried about her friend's naivete regarding Tristan Young. Kayla Song, however, stood firm, "I'm not greedy, and I don't want anything to do with Tristan Young. I just want everyone to stop targeting him." Suddenly, a cup of coffee flew through the air, drenching Nina Tate. The drama continued as Bella Shen, someone Kayla Song had heard mentioned in connection with Henry Young, appeared, launching into a tirade. She accused Kayla Song of clinging to Henry Young while spitting out provocative insults. Kayla Song, however, calmly retorted, demanding Bella Shen compensate for ruining Nina Tate's expensive outfit. The tension escalated again as Bella Shen threatened Kayla Song, declaring, "Young Tuk Tuk has already agreed to let me marry Henry Young," and daring Kayla Song to make a fuss about it. An excuse? No, Song Ki wasn't about to manufacture drama with Thursday Tone. With everything settled, she had no further dealings with him and wouldn't waste time on rumors. Instead, she offered a coolly indifferent blessing, "I wish you a swift marriage and many children." The words, a veiled farewell, subtly jabbed at Thursday Tone's already inflated ego. Song Ki couldn't help but ponder the Young family gossip. She suspected a kind hand within the family was at work. But what could one do? The world was full of hypocrites. Song Ki returned to the hospital to care for Tristan Young, still recovering from his earlier injury. Despite her questionable cooking, she excelled at other tasks, attending to him diligently while probing about the family rumors. "Fifth uncle, have you heard the nasty gossip about me within the Young family?" Tristan Young, unsurprised, didn't initially volunteer information. "I wasn't planning on telling you." He clearly understood the situation, likely having prepared countermeasures. But when Song Ki mentioned the share transfers and the family's shady dealings, he offered a knowing smile, "Don't you already have an answer?" Yes, she did, but sometimes, faced with such complexities, she just wanted to retreat to a peaceful place, far from the turmoil. Song Ki decided to return to the Young estate. She consulted Tristan Young, her constant protector. "Fifth uncle, what do you think?" Though reluctant, he respected her decision. "Do you need me to come with you?" Song Ki declined, "No need. I'm just going for lunch and to see who's trying to stir up trouble." It sounded like amateur sleuthing, but she wasn't afraid of confrontation. Tristan Young, displeased but unwilling to let her go alone, insisted on accompanying her, despite his incomplete recovery. A man of his strength and resolve wouldn't let this slide. Arriving at the Young estate, the ancient mansion and its grandeur spoke of wealth and power. Song Ki, led through opulent, aristocratic rooms reminiscent of historical dramas, was taken aback. She was particularly curious about Tristan Young's room, previously unseen by anyone. "Fifth uncle, how do you have the key?" Song Ki inquired. Tristan Young simply replied, "I locked it, why wouldn't I have the key?" Stepping inside, Song Ki had to admit, it was like a royal chamber. Everything was exquisite, luxurious, like the period dramas she'd watched. This room was Tristan Young's private sanctuary, accessible only to a select few. If I were still here when you returned, I would have begged to stay in your room for a few days to satisfy my curiosity, Song Ki confessed, giggling. Tristan Young simply looked at her, his tone as cold as ever. Do you want to stay? Kayla Song chuckled, admitting humorously, not really. Getting to spend a night here, experiencing the divine atmosphere, is what I truly yearn for. Tristan Young told Kayla Song, whenever you're free, you can come and stay, as long as they allow us. Kayla Song smiled, gazing at a childhood photo of Tristan Young, admiring his charming smile. This scene heightened the tension within the Young household. Julia Jiang, upon hearing of Kayla Song's arrival, promptly returned and summoned all the madams of the house. When Julia Jiang entered the room, Kayla Song greeted her respectfully, but she loudly berated Kayla Song, forbidding her from calling her grandmother, and displaying open disdain following the board meeting. Tristan Young told Julia Jiang not to be so harsh, displeasing her, but she dared not escalate the situation as Kayla Song still held the password to the Swiss bank vault. Teresa Young, Tristan Young's younger sister, also appeared, mocking Kayla Song. She claimed Kayla Song was unworthy of Tristan Young and deliberately provoked her about the kidnapping incident. Kayla Song stood up, confronted Teresa Young, and demanded the return of her peace amulet. Teresa Young challenged Kayla Song, throwing the amulet to the ground and crushing it. Enraged, Kayla Song slapped Teresa Young, demanding its return. When Tristan Young appeared, he stopped Kayla Song as she attempted to leave, and Teresa Young began to cry, accusing Kayla Song of hitting her. Tristan Young, furious, admonished Kayla Song, but she responded coldly. Just then, Henry Young, a family member, slapped Kayla Song, silencing her as she coldly exited the room. Henry Young tried to follow, but Teresa Young stopped him, admitting she had leaked the news of Kayla Song's kidnapping. When Henry Young suddenly realized Teresa Young might be manipulated, he froze, filled with worry. But things didn't unfold as he imagined. He witnessed Kayla Song snatching medication from Tristan Young's hand, boldly, without hesitation. Concerned for Fifth Uncle's health, she was oblivious to the chain of tense, dramatic events this action would trigger, no less intense than an action movie. No one expected a simple snatch of medication to ignite a bloody showdown, and no, not in a martial arts film. In a moment of unbearable tension, Tristan Young, with a chillingly calm expression, punched Henry Young in the face right in front of Kayla Song. What? You heard that right. Fifth Uncle not only protected Kayla Song but also avenged the slap Henry Young had given her. Don't mess with Tristan Young, no matter how cold he seems. Kayla Song stood frozen, witnessing Tristan Young's powerful punch in disbelief. Fifth Uncle had resorted to violence for her. But after the forceful blow, Tristan Young acted as if nothing had happened, continuing his cold departure without a backward glance. Yet, all Kayla Song could think was, should I pull him away to save Henry Young? She quickly stopped herself, though a flicker of confusion remained. After all, Fifth Uncle needed to prioritize his health over family drama, right? When Tristan Young was taken into the operating room, Kayla Song couldn't help but worry, blaming herself for letting him act too soon. After an hour that felt like a century, when Tristan Young was brought out, she felt another shock, not because he was still alive, but because she could do nothing but stand and watch. Tristan Young, after waking up, coldly asked, "Are you hungry?" Meanwhile, Kayla Song was embarrassed and didn't know how to answer, as she couldn't help but notice the redness on his face, the mark from her earlier punch. It was all like a playful game between them, and Tristan Young, who was usually unmoved, had unexpectedly made Kayla Song feel so shy. But it didn't stop there. Kayla Song suddenly announced something completely unexpected: she wanted to learn how to cook. Tristan Young was so surprised he almost dropped his icy demeanor. And then, when she said she would learn at a center, Tristan Young simply said, "Your business, you decide." But not without adding, "Then you'll cook for Fifth Uncle to enjoy." Kayla Song happily nodded, leaving Ethan Carter, standing beside them, sighing, unable to understand why Tristan Young indulged Kayla Song so much. These were the perfect moments of a romantic comedy, where every character had unexpected moments that pushed the relationship in interesting directions. Tristan Young, despite his coldness, couldn't escape his reluctant doting on Kayla Song. She not only made him protect her but also touched his heart with her naive yet moving actions. Thanks to Nina Tate's extensive connections in River City, Layla Song, a girl who had never known her way around a kitchen, was enrolled in a professional cooking class. But tell me, if someone doesn't know how to chop an onion, how can they cook the Cantonese dish, Chaozhou 5-spice platter? Layla Song could only watch the other teachers skillfully work, while she couldn't distinguish any spices other than salt and sugar. This dish required finesse, but Layla Song only needed to know which dishes she could skip. In the end, she had to miss a class because she didn't know where to start. In the next class, a jade maiden named Emma Taylor appeared, a skilled chef with over 17 years of experience. She was not only skilled but also as beautiful as someone stepped out of a historical drama, leaving Layla Song stunned. Emma Taylor stood on the podium with the confidence of someone directing an international culinary competition. She demonstrated how to cook fish ball soup, from deboning the fish at precisely 60 degrees, as if it were physics, to controlling the heat to maintain the freshness of the fish balls. Layla Song just watched, doing nothing but messing up every step from start to finish. So, a daring idea flashed through Layla Song's mind: if I can't cook, why not find a man who can cook well and marry him? With a swift recalculation, she quickly redefined her life goal: marry someone, so I don't have to enter the kitchen. Back at the hospital, Layla Song couldn't help but feel guilty when she saw Tristan Young talking to Clara Dawson, a cold-looking woman with a strong, powerful beauty aura. They both sat still as statues, neither saying a word, creating an atmosphere like a long-running television drama. As Layla Song decided to leave, she overheard a sentence that made everything explode: I don't agree to let you and Layla Song continue this relationship. It turned out that Clara Dawson, Tristan Young's older sister, wasn't thrilled about her younger brother's budding feelings for Layla Song. Clara Dawson issued a stern warning, even going so far as to say Layla Song was just stirring up trouble. Layla Song, listening, couldn't help but wonder, am I really seen as a troublemaker? Tristan Young's cold response was simply that it wasn't her concern. Indeed, no matter how worried she was, that curt reply confirmed that it was nobody's business but his. When Layla Song thought about fifth uncle, Tristan Young, she couldn't help but feel he was different from other men. While most men would soften at the sight of a woman's tears, Tristan Young remained as cold as stone. So, she decided to cry less, to avoid bothering fifth uncle. But then, Tristan Young unexpectedly said, if a wants to cry, come to me. Layla Song couldn't help but think, fifth uncle, so arrogant. From then on, Tristan Young rarely expressed his true feelings. Whenever she tried to act coquettishly, he remained indifferent, but who would have guessed, the first time she cried on his back, Tristan Young felt a strange sensation, his heartbeat slowed. How could he not be moved by such a lovely girl leaning on him? Before Layla Song could breathe a sigh of relief, she received a call from Tristan Young. Fifth uncle invited her to Philip Young's 50th birthday party. This time, it wasn't just the feast, but also the curious gazes of the guests, all wondering about Layla Song and Tristan Young's relationship. Is this the next generation of the Young family? What a striking pair. However, before she could fully enjoy this sophisticated atmosphere, Layla Song encountered a situation straight out of a movie. While in the bathroom, she stumbled upon a Young family specialty, a nest of venomous snakes with triangular heads, a scene ripped from a horror film. This wasn't a twist of fate, but a cruel plot by members of the Young family, who always had a way of pranking Layla Song. With snakes slithering all around her, Layla Song could do nothing but tremble and retreat, thinking, I underestimated the ruthlessness of the Young family. In an unimaginably tense moment, Layla Song heard the hissing of venomous snakes, causing her to collapse in terror. Trapped in the young mansion's bathroom, she not only faced the threat of the snakes but also felt imprisoned by the locked door. Helpless, she tried to call Tristan Young, hoping for rescue. Despite her trembling hands, she managed to dial Fifth Uncle's number, a flicker of hope rising within her. When the call connected, Kayla Song could only utter panicked words, informing Tristan Young that she was surrounded by venomous snakes. She struggled to remain calm, though her body trembled uncontrollably. Tristan Young, on the other end, was initially unaware of Kayla Song's dire situation. He only heard her sobs, but then, recognizing the distress in her voice, he immediately left, rushing towards her. Meanwhile, Kayla Song retreated further into the corner, dodging the approaching snakes. One of them even opened its mouth menacingly. She was close to her phone, but terror paralyzed her. A stream of liquid sprayed from the snake, venom she knew, intensifying her fear. As she faced this life-or-death situation, another incident unfolded. Tristan Young, on his way to rescue her, accidentally bumped into a servant rushing through the estate. Despite his agility, Tristan Young couldn't avoid the collision. He coldly regarded the servant, his voice sharp as he questioned, "Where are you hurrying to in such a panic?" The servant bowed their head, stammering about delivering an item to the mistress, fearing punishment. Unmoved, Tristan Young's eyes turned icy. "You belong to Evelyn Blake?" he asked, the simple question heightening the tension. The intertwining of Kayla Song's perilous situation and Tristan Young's cold demeanor adds to the story's suspense. Will he reach her in time? Tristan Young, always composed and in control, gave the servant no chance to lie. He curtly interrupted, asserting his ability to discern the truth she concealed. Trembling, the servant confessed to serving Mistress Evelyn Blake. Uninterested in the reason, Tristan Young ordered her to follow, his anxiety growing. Reaching Kayla Song's room, he shoved open the bathroom door, slipping inside and calling her name. Silence met him. His worry intensified. "The key," he commanded, his gaze sharp. The servant, without resistance, handed it over. The bathroom door swung open, revealing Kayla Song collapsing into his arms. Two venomous snakes slithered nearby, poised to strike. Without hesitation, Tristan Young embraced her, seemingly unconcerned by the danger, focused solely on her protection. Securing the door, he gently laid her on the bed, carefully checking for injuries. Though Kayla Song had calmed somewhat, her dress was disheveled from her ordeal, stirring a flicker of desire within Tristan Young. He suppressed it, covering her with a blanket and sighing in relief. But his concern remained. His gaze turned icy toward the servant, intent on uncovering the mastermind. "Who is responsible?" he demanded. Trembling, the servant replied, "The mistress." Tristan Young's lips curled into a cold smile, unsurprised. His eyes scanned Kayla Song's long-time room, noting its quiet simplicity. He sat beside her, caring for her like a devoted older brother. Kayla Song stirred, tears welling in her eyes as she looked at him. "Fifth Uncle. I was so scared," she whispered. In that moment, Tristan Young couldn't bear her fragility. He gently stroked her hair, his heart softening. Even a strong man like him couldn't help but be moved by her vulnerability. Kayla Song, like a child, threw herself into his arms, sobbing, stirring his heart even more. Tristan Young softly comforted her, "All right, don't cry anymore. There." Just as the air settled, a figure hesitated at the doorway before entering, increasing the tension in the room. The tension ratcheted up as young Khan entered, showing no warmth towards Kayla Song, not even glancing at her. Instead, he berated Tristan Young for missing an important occasion, the grand birthday celebration, to dally with her. Kayla Song remained unfazed, even offering a sweet smile in response, inexplicably lightening the mood. Young Khan didn't argue further, turning to leave, while Kayla Song deftly navigated the conversation, leading Tristan Young to sheepishly admit that he had nothing important to attend to. But unbeknownst to them, a storm of resentment brewed within young Khan. As Kayla Song prepared to leave, she smoothly informed young Khan that she couldn't attend the grand celebration and that Tristan Young would stay to care for her. Young Khan showed no concern, merely giving them a cold look before turning away, his body trembling slightly with suppressed anger. Tristan Young's icy gaze followed Kayla Song as she continued speaking, leaving her to wonder at his strange silence. Kayla Song, her eyes gleaming, noticed that Tristan Young's phone wasn't on vibrate, yet he still received the call. She chuckled softly, easing the tension, but a tiny, unanswered question lingered in her mind. Tristan Young then reminded her to stay close to him whenever she encountered the Young family, a veiled warning for any eavesdropping servants. His words flustered Kayla Song, her face flushing, and she couldn't help but sense a subtle shift in the air between them. At this point, Tristan Young's indifference towards the Young family celebration became even clearer, making Kayla Song feel that nothing was more important to him than being with her. He gently stroked her hair, pulled her close, and whispered, "You'll find out soon." Her heart pounded, anticipation and confusion swirling within her, her face flushing crimson. A few minutes later, just as Tristan Young had predicted, the clamor of a crowd began to swell. The door burst open, and a throng of people poured in, filling the room. Henry Young's eyes immediately fell upon the two embracing figures, a pang of pain shooting through him, but he quickly retreated into the crowd, hiding his emotions. Madame Young, Tristan Young's mother, entered, her voice cold, reprimanding them for their lack of decorum. Kayla Song, her face flushed, addressed her respectfully, "Madam." Madame Young's eyes flashed with disdain, but she maintained her composure for the sake of appearances in front of so many witnesses. The madam advanced, feigning concern for Kayla Song's well-being, her worries about potential injuries a thin veil over some ulterior motive. But Alice Lin had arrived, and they certainly wouldn't let this opportunity slip. This situation was bound to become more convoluted. Would things truly unfold according to the madam's schemes?